Hey everybody, it's Fox with FoxeoGames, and this is a Fox First Scent for Ghost in the Shell, Standalone Complex, First Assault Online. That is quite possibly the longest game title that I've ever covered on my channel. This is obviously an online game based on Ghost in the Shell, the very popular anime, which I've only seen once, and that was because a Japanese friend that I know insisted that I watch it, and I finally gave in after several years of him pestering me and watched it. It was okay. I wasn't blown away. I didn't consider it a masterpiece like other people do, but I can totally see how people really enjoy Ghost in the Shell. Basically, when I started this, I thought it would be something different from your typical first-person shooter, but for the most part, it didn't really feel like it to me. I don't play a lot of first-person shooters, and in particular, I don't tend to get into the first-person shooter, competitive online scene. I play a little bit of these kinds of games here and there. I played a little bit of the Doom multiplayer. I've played a little bit of one Modern Warfare or Call of Duty game, and a couple others. But generally, I've also played Counter-Strike and all those other games like that. But in general, I avoid first-person shooter online matches like this because I just tend not to be very good at them. And what oftentimes will happen is I just die over and over again. But in this one, I did fairly well. So I'm glad that the footage I captured actually makes me look halfway decent at the game. This is, of course, on the PC, and you're able to customize your controls. There are quite a few graphics options, although I would expect a lot more to be out when the game finally releases and comes out of early access, if it ever does, because as we know, early access can be like a black hole that sucks games in, and they seem unable to ever escape from their status of being early access. But like I said, I didn't pay for it, so I'm just checking it out for free, to me at least, no charge. This is Team Deathmatch, which is of course very familiar to anybody who's played any level of first-person shooter online combat like this. Basically, I was frantically trying to figure out what the button was for a melee attack there, and eventually I did find it. It is the F key, which is a pretty standard key. You do have a melee attack. You've got some different loadouts that you can select. One was a sniper rifle, and then there were two different, basically, assault rifles, handgun. There are grenades as well. You'll notice that the enemy in several cases used a sentry gun, which I took one of those out earlier. There are some devices that you can set down that basically form like this invisible shield barrier, or see-through shield barrier. It looks like a plate of glass, although it's a barrier that prevents enemies from being able to hit you. There's quite a lot going on here that I'm not entirely familiar with because I've only played through it a few times. But like I said, first impressions, just walking away from having played this for a while, a couple different games. I think I played 3 matches total. The first time I tried to get into matches, just nothing was happening, so I had to put the game down and come back several hours later. And then of course, there were a lot of people there, so I don't know, maybe there's just a temporary dry spell when I first tried. But I did walk away with the impression that this is essentially basically like a Call of Duty type game. It's kind of a Call of Duty clone with a Ghost in the Shell coat of paint on top. And what that means is basically it felt very much like any of the other modern, military first-person shooters that I've played, except it just has that Ghost in the Shell aesthetic on it. I was able to select a operative at the beginning. There are several different characters to choose from. Of course, I chose Motoko Kusanagi, who is the main, one of the main characters in the anime. But what's interesting is it shows you what your character looks like to you, and then I think it's also showing you what your character looks like to others, because essentially what you're doing is you're diving into another body in this. So apparently you don't look the same when you're out here in combat that you do when you're looking at yourself and the menus and whatnot. There are perks, of course, in the game as you progress through. You basically, it's kind of like leveling up. You get some little perks like, for example, faster reloading, or you move further in terms of unlocking new weapons. At the end of the match, it actually showed me how close I was to unlocking the next weapon. And to be honest, I think we've got quite a lot of these games out there, so I'm pretty sure that unless you've got something really new to offer, we probably don't need another modern military-style first-person shooter that has loadouts that you choose from, and in which the more you play, the more perks you get and the more weapons you unlock and you rank up. And of course, all of this sounds very, very familiar. I would like to see more of the old school arena shooters like Quake and Unreal Tournament. I think personally I find those more fun, although I don't tend to play them a whole lot because, like I said, I'm not very good at them, and by now there are so many people that have this super twitchy reflex, fast sniper, you know, headshots and all this stuff that I just can't keep up with anymore. So I don't bother, and that's part of the reason why I don't get too competitive with these. I do like to play just for fun. And I know some people are all about winning and they get mad when they have someone on their team that doesn't do too well. So that's the thing, of course, in these games. I just joined random matches. I just got into the quick match. Here I do some of that melee. And apparently it took like 3 or 4 stabs or else I was missing him. Now here, I actually hit the scroll wheel and I scrolled up a notch thinking that I would switch from my knife to my assault rifle. Well, it went to my handgun. I don't know entirely how to switch between them, or you know, all the keys and whatnot. So because I'd switched to my handgun and I was in the middle of that, I figured just whatever, I'll roll with it and start using the handgun. Didn't work out for me that time. You notice this guy hides behind this box here. We managed to take out this other guy, but you'll notice she moves forward right here, and boom, he goes after her. Oh, no, buddy, sorry. I remember you're still there. I know you're hiding out behind that box. I did have fun, though. I'll tell you that much. It was fun, although, like I said, it wasn't uniquely fun from a lot of the other online first-person shooters that I played. Of course, when you die, unlike a game like Counter-Strike, you do actually just respawn right away. You don't have to wait until the next match. I was never a fan of those games where when you die, you just gotta sit there and wait until everybody else finishes and, you know, the match is over, because that's boring. I like just to respawn and get back into the action. There are other modes as well, although I haven't managed to play any of them because, like I said, I had problems getting any matches at all when I first tried to play the game. Like I said, I had to put it down for a few hours and come back later, and then suddenly there were a lot more people playing, or at least I had better matchmaking going on. Bam, he got me. I did not try the sniper rifle loadout just because I'm typically not the best at those sniper rifles. I don't have that sort of super accurate twitchy combat skill that a lot of the younger people have that have grown up with games like this. Of course, when I was a kid, we didn't have games that looked like this. We didn't have first-person shooters at all until I was a bit older. And those first-person shooters look like Wolfenstein 3D and Doom, where you could be incredibly inaccurate and still actually get through okay. Well, I'm Fox with FoxeoGames, and I will see you guys next time.